Okay, so the previous video is all about, what do you do if you're the first one to enter the pot, right? And I'd already said you want to raise, right? So, by the way, a good raise size, right? So let's say the big blind is 50 cents. I think a good raise size, that's my cat knocking chips off the table, is 3 times the big blind. So in this instance, that would be $1.50. That'd be a good raise size. And if somebody else limps, and limping is when you just merely call the big blind rather than raise. Again, I think this is a bad idea. I'll get into why later. So you just do 3 times the big blind plus 1 for every big blind put in. So so if one guy limps, so it's like, okay, 3 times 50 cents is $1.50 plus 50 more cents. So then in this situation, I'd raise to $2. That would be my opening raise. Now, the question is, what do you do if somebody else is raised? And it gets to you, right? So let's say this guy, instead of limping, he raises to $1.50. And not only that, he's raising under the gun. So that means he's probably got a pretty strong hand, right? Because you don't do that if you have garbage. At least you shouldn't. Well, you can do 3 things, right? You can fold, you can call, you can raise, okay? Now, I think something that a lot of players do too much is flat call raises too frequently. It's not something you should never do, but you should only do that sometimes. A lot of times the correct option, in my opinion, is to re-raise, and that's called a 3-bet. Now, there's a lot of different ranges you could use for 3-betting. I'm just going to show 2 examples of 3-betting ranges that kind of work for most positions. So if you're playing against guys who usually you think are going to be playing a little more on the value side of things, they're probably not playing a lot of suited connectors. You think they usually have high cards and high pocket pairs. You might want to use a merged 3-betting range. And what that means is let me start with this. A polarized 3-betting range, you have some solid hands and then some hands that are kind of bluffs. Kind of 3-bet bluffs. That's if you think that they're playing some more kind of tricky cards like suited connectors and low pocket pairs. Then you might want to actually hit them with some of these bluffs. If you think they generally don't do that and they're playing more kind of like higher offsuit hands like king jack offsuit and more pocket 10s, stuff like that, then you want to 3-bet with strong cards. A merged 3-betting range would be something like pocket 10s or better, ace queen, ace king. That would be a merged 3-betting range. And then a polarized 3-betting range would be something like pocket queens or better, ace king. I don't know why I put plus. There's nothing better than ace king for offsuit hands. And then you'd throw in something like ace deuce through ace 5 suited, and then some low suited connectors like 5-4 suited, 6-5 suited, 7-6 suited. You could 3-bet with something like that. That would kind of like, if you're 3-betting a polarized range, okay, this guy raises to $1.50. You go, okay, I'm going to raise you to $5. They're going, okay, well, we don't know if he has pocket aces or if he has 6-5 suited. He could have either one, and you're kind of mysterious that way. Again, this is just a simple range. You're probably going to want to adjust this depending on what's going on at the table. So, for instance, this guy raised under the gun. I probably want to use a stronger 3-betting range against him. Now, if somebody raises from the cutoff, they're playing with a weaker range. So, maybe in that situation, I would 3-bet with pocket 7s. I would 3-bet with ace jack. I'd 3-bet with ace 10 maybe, This is just a general range. Similar to the starting hands, this is a general range. You can kind of move up and down depending on the action at the table. Anyways, one more situation I did not cover is what do you do from the blinds when somebody else has raised, right? So let's say the cutoff raises. I'll just put these chips back out here. Cutoff raises to $1.50, and you are in the small blind. One thing that I never like to do is to flat call an open raise from the small blind. And the reason I don't like to do that is that that means after the flop, you are the first to act, which sucks, and you might be the first to act in a multi-way pot, right? Because you call, the big blind may call. Well, crap, now you got 3 people in the pot, you're first to act, and you weren't even the pre-flop aggressor. You weren't the one driving the car, right? Anytime you flat call rather than 3-betting, you are capping your range. You're basically admitting to the table, I don't have queens or better, I don't have ace-king, because I would have 3-bet those. You should always 3-bet, like whatever range you come up with. If you have pocket queens and you're not 3-betting, what are you doing? If you have ace-king and you're not 3-betting, what are you doing, right? So like when you don't 3-bet, you're announcing to the table, I have a pretty good hand, but it's not that good, right? When you just flat call an open raise, you're like, I got something mid-range, right? So from the small blind, if somebody raises, I prefer to 3-bet with like an under the gun range, like 15% of hands. Just 3-bet or fold. I'm not going to flat call from the small blind usually. Big blind, on the other hand, you can kind of use more of an idiot range. You can kind of do goofy stuff. You can kind of call with something closer to the button range and 3-bet with something like the under the gun range, right? So like you have ace 5 suited, you could 3-bet there. But if you have like 9-8 suited, you could flat call because you're already in at a discount and you're the last to act, right? So let's say cutoff raises to $1.50, small blind folds. Now it's just you and him. Okay, you don't have to worry that somebody else is going to re-raise and screw things up, right? So you can just, okay, I got 9-8 suited, cool, I'm going to call. Let's see a flop, right? That's an acceptable time to do it. That is the position. If you like pre-flop calling, it's the big blind is kind of where you want to do that. Other parts of the table, it's not the best idea. Let's see. Times when it makes sense to call pre-flop. In another position, I would say the sorts of hands that you want to do that with are low pocket pairs and suited connectors. So like, you know, if you have, let's say, you got pocket deuces, and you're on the button, and the cutoff raises to $1.50. I'm not mad if you, call there, because pocket deuces are going to be pretty easy to play in a multi-way pot. If multiple people go in, you go to the flop 4 ways, you have pocket 2s, and then a 2 rolls off on the flop. Come on, find me a 2. Where's the 2 at? There we go. You got pocket 2s, and here's your flop. Well, you just hit a really good hand, and it's really well disguised. This is going to play well post-flop. And if you don't hit a pocket 2, if you don't hit a 2 on the flop, well, pretty easy to give up, right? Like, you're not going to be tempted to, oh, wait, no, I think I'm good. You're not good. There's 4 people in the hand. There's 3 cards higher than your 2s. Pretty easy to get away with. And the other hand that's fun to play pre-flop is, like suited connectors, right? Because you'll hit interesting draws on the flop. So for instance, here you have a straight draw, 5, 6, 7, 8. A 4 or 9 makes you a straight, right? So you can kind of do something with that. But the hands that suck to play multi-way are like offsuit high cards. So like King Jack offsuit. It's not a bad hand, but playing multi-way kind of sucks because you could very easily go up against somebody who has King Queen. Okay, and a king hits the board, and you think you have the better hand, but you don't. The other guy's got King Queen, or you could go up against Ace Jack, right? And a Jack hits the board. Oh, cool, I'm good. No, you're not, right? You get out kicked, right? So those hands are kind of like 3-better fold. I'd rather, I don't usually flat call with King Jack offsuit. So the types of hands you want to call with are the low pocket pairs where you could hit a set, you could hit trips, or the suited connectors where you could hit draws. And high card hands, you probably want a 3-better fold. Okay, so that is what to do when somebody else bets.